We're here live, Monday through Friday, 12 noon to 4 p.m. Eastern. Thank you for joining us. This show is not about races or religions fighting with each other. It's not about bashing any one group. It's about waking up to the scientific dictatorship we live under and warning the people and saying no as free sentient beings on this planet. And if we don't shatter the false left-right paradigm, it's over for this society. Going back to Mike Adams in a moment, where he can give us his take on the flu vaccine, other key information. We're also going to be taking your phone calls at 1-800-259-9231. I know many of these callers have been holding since before he was on with us, but he can speak to any issue. He has a wide-ranging understanding. We'll also put on screen for people photos taken by one of our listeners of a National Guard with Border Patrol deep inside a state, and they asked him if he'd had his flu shot and started asking if he had a bracelet. And then people were honking, and they waved him on through. California swine flu checkpoint identified, ladies and gentlemen, is the headline at prisonplanet.com. Before we go back to my guest, I want to tell you about one of our sponsors that makes this hour possible. That's Front Sight. Front Sight Firearms, frontsight.com. Have you heard of the millionaire patriot, Dr. Ignatius Piazza, the founder of the Front Sight Firearms Training Institute? He's offering a free handgun and 5 days of firearms training to my listeners. The offer is only available for a limited time because Dr. Piazza is literally paying his own money out of pocket to be able to offer you this deal and won't last forever. So listen up. You can attend 5 days of world-class gun training at Front Sight Firearms Training Institute and secure a 30-state concealed weapons permit, all for pennies on the dollar. Act fast. You will be given a free Springfield Armory XD pistol in the caliber of your choice. It's one thing to own a bunch of guns and ammo to defend yourself from criminals and other groups, but it's another thing to actually be trained. No drill instructor attitude. It's awesome. Frontsight.com. That's frontsight.com. And one last sponsor I want to tell you about is mysolarbackup.com. A lot of things can cut off your electrical power, hurricanes, snow, ice storms, global greenhouse taxes, you name it. Listeners should move towards getting off the grid, and here's a way to do just that. The solar power generator is now available from our longtime sponsor, Solutions from Science. You get an emergency power backup kit, which consists of the power source, 800-watt generator, and a high-efficiency solar panel designed to provide endless electricity. Remember, too, that gas generators need gas, but in a blackout, gas pumps can't pump gas because they run on electricity. It's a perfect emergency backup for these troubled times. The government doesn't own the sun yet, folks, so make your move today. MySolarBackup.com or 877-327-0365. MySolarBackup.com or 877-327-0365. And I won't belabor this anymore, but I will just tell you, the listeners, that my new film is done. We sent crews out 17 times around the country for these interviews. Alan Watts in it, just to give you an idea. Went to Canada. It covers the entire master plan, how the banks carried it out, what the New World Order is, how they're using television to put people into a hypnotic state. And it's Volume 1. Volume 2 comes out March 15th. It will be shipping out on or before October 21st. If your orders come in first, we ship the orders out in the order they came in. Get yours first. Pre-order today at Infowars.com to get Fall of the Republic. Or you can also call toll-free to pre-order 888-253-3139. Be sure and ask about all the combos and specials. You can get half off or more on some of my films when you get it with Fall of the Republic. Going back to Mike Adams of naturalnews.com, the Health Ranger. He also runs Better Life Foods and Truth Publishing. And again, naturalnews.com. I want to go to calls, but before we do that, Mike, again, you've got the floor. You keep pausing for me to jump in, and that's a great opportunity for me, but I'm trying to break my habit of interrupting. What is most important people should know about the regular shot and the H1N1? Where do you see all this going, and what can we do to get the word out to say no to this?
Yeah, the most important thing people need to know right now is that if they're considering a vaccine, maybe they're trying to weigh the potential upside and the potential downside. They might be doing that from a point of view of believing that they have been told both sides of the story. What they need to know is that these drug companies, and Merck in particular, I just wrote an article about Merck today, has a well-documented history of engaging in the intimidation of doctors and researchers who disagree with the safety of the company's products. So the question that I asked in today's article, in fact, was, are doctors and researchers and healthcare workers being intimidated about speaking out against the safety of the vaccines? Because I think that's what's going on. In fact, I'm sure of it, Alex. that people need to know that they aren't being given both sides of the story, that these vaccines are not safe, and that, in fact, they weren't even approved under a system of, quote, scientific medicine. They were approved under a medical dogma, a medical tyranny that operates in this country today.
Under emergency, under level 6 flu pandemic emergency, they did it.
Absolutely. This isn't scientific. This vaccine isn't based on science. It's based on profits and politics and control. It has nothing to do with medical justification, period.
Mike, you brought up Merck, interrupting here. You brought up Merck. It was in the ABC News Australia. Headline, Merck drew up hit list of doctors with, quote, seek and destroy missions, quote, going to where they live. And then Merck said, we just mean we go after them, not that we kill them. But a lot of people in the federal court said, no, we believe this is hit teams. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, they used those exact terms. They said we are going to, quote, neutralize doctors. There was another email from a Merck employee that surfaced in this Australian court case where they said, quote, we're going to go after them where they live. We're going to interfere with the funding of academic institutions. We're going to essentially target and destroy any person or organization that speaks out against our drugs. This is a drug company whose vaccines have been approved by the FDA to be injected into your babies. I mean, think about that.
And they brought us Gardasil. They brought us Gardasil. They brought us Vioxx. Remind folks about that.
Yeah, well, Gardasil, it's the same story. In fact, I think the Gardasil propaganda was a trial run for this pandemic propaganda. Gardasil, they've managed to get more than half of all teenage girls in America injected with this Gardasil vaccine, which is, once again, medically unjustified in my view and in the view of many other well-educated medical professionals. But this vaccine has been linked with all kinds of problems, with people passing out, with deaths. Deaths have been linked with this. Neurological problems have been linked with it. But it's the same story as with the swine flu vaccine. They say, couldn't be us, couldn't be the vaccine, don't blame us, it must be something else. It's always this disavowing of responsibility.
Well, these are new type of genetically engineered hybrid viruses. They admitted in their own insert during the trials 3 years ago, as you know, but recapping for people, that it was causing autoimmune disorders, that there were deaths linked to it in the trials. Now the deaths are mounting, and healthy 13, 14-year-old girls take it, and their lives are over. They die. They get paralyzed. And we know that Merck went to Governor Rick Perry to get him to, quote, make it mandatory or on the list of mandatory shots to be in school so that Vaccine Damage Fund federally would kick in. This is one cold-blooded plan that they're engaged in.
Well, this is a very powerful corporation with a lot of strong political ties, including with Governor Rick Perry there in Texas, but many other ties at the national level. I mean, this company rules the medical world, and my concern with that, Alex, is that they're doing so purely based on profit and politics and not based on science. I mean, the scientific method has been thrown out the window when it comes to these vaccines. This whole germ theory has been turned on its head and used, exploited as a way to dominate the health beliefs of the American citizens. Now people don't realize that they need to take responsibility for their own health. They need to eat better. They need to get some sunshine and vitamin D. They need to, stop using so many chemicals in personal care products. If they do those things, they're going to be well protected against this pandemic or any pandemic, really. But
absolutely,
but the medical system wants chemical intervention, and that's what they keep driving at.
Well, now the medical system is telling doctors, don't tell people there's any protection but Tamiflu or H1N1 shot. Don't tell people you need natural vitamin D from the sun, 30 minutes of sun every few days, direct sun. Don't tell people vitamin C. Don't tell people fish oil. Don't tell people colloidal silver compounds, even though the studies show it's excellent. They're saying you're now not allowed to tell people.
Well, exactly. This is the enforced health illiteracy of the American people. I mean, it really, I almost hate to invoke this imagery, but it goes back to the enslavement of people in America. And how do you keep people enslaved is you keep them illiterate. And that's what the FDA is doing. That's what the FTC is doing with the way that they attack and go after these companies that try to tell the truth online about the benefits of their herbal products or their nutritional products or their superfoods. They are being attacked, intimidated, arrested. They're having their inventory confiscated. I had one of these guys, a founder of one of these companies, visit me in Ecuador. The things he told me, I would have thought he was being oppressed in Nazi Germany. But no, he came from the United States of America, barely got out of the country with his life, with his freedom, and now he refuses to go back because he's selling natural products.
Well,
I mean,
the people
this is happening
perish
right now.
The people perish for lack of knowledge, and certainly there's a lot of quacks out there, but there's more quackery in the major MD medical system, and the drug companies taking over medicine, even getting rid of classical Western medicine and bringing in this pharmakeia medicine.